Have you ever had one of those days where everything goes wrong, and then someone decides to push your absolute last button? Well, today we're diving into one of the most bizarre, shocking, and heavily debated stories in the entire Bible. It's found in the book of 2 Kings, and it stars a man named Elisha. Now, to understand Elisha, you have to know he had massive shoes to fill. His mentor was Elijah, arguably the greatest prophet in Israel's history. Elijah had just been taken up to heaven in a whirlwind of fire, leaving Elisha with his cloak, his title, and a nation in crisis. Elisha was the new guy on the job, trying to establish his authority, and his first major road trip was to a town called Bethel. Now, Bethel wasn't just any town. It was the epicenter of idol worship at the time. It was a place that actively rejected the prophets. As Elisha is walking up the road toward the city, a massive crowd comes out to meet him. The Bible describes them as youths, referring to a mob of young men, likely teenagers or young adults, and they aren't there to welcome him. They begin to surround him, chanting a mocking phrase over and over. "Go up, baldy. Go up, baldy." On the surface, it sounds like a playground insult, but back then, it meant something much darker. Go up was a direct, sarcastic taunt about his mentor Elijah disappearing into the sky. They were mocking the divine power of God. It was a coordinated, aggressive threat to a lone prophet, a total rejection of his message, and a complete lack of respect. Elisha stops walking. He turns around, looks this hostile crowd dead in the eye, and curses them in the name of the Lord. And what happens next sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. Suddenly, the rustling of trees breaks the silence. 2 fierce female bears burst out from the surrounding woods, charging straight into the crowd. Before the mob can even scatter, the bears maul 42 of the young men. It's a brutal ending, right? For a long time, people have wondered, is this just a story about a prophet with a short fuse and an overreaction? But when you look closer, there's a much bigger lesson under the surface. This story isn't about God protecting a prophet's vanity. It's an ancient, vivid warning about accountability and respect. In ancient times, a culture's survival depended on the respect of its youth. The mob at Bethel represented a generation that had completely abandoned honor, choosing to bully, threaten, and mock the truth. The sudden appearance of the bears was a stark, unforgettable reminder to the nation that choices have consequences, and that a culture built on mockery and disrespect eventually collapses under its own weight. Elisha didn't stay to celebrate. He simply turned around and continued his journey to Mount Carmel, his authority firmly established. So, the next time you think about ancient history, remember the 2 bears of Bethel. It's a short, wild story, but it leaves a timeless reminder. Words have power, respect matters, and the boundaries we mock might just be the ones keeping the wild at bay. Thanks for watching. If you loved uncovering this hidden piece of history, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.